Welcome in, my friends. 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. We're kicking off July talking about customer service, something all of us deal with daily basis. Don't care what you're doing. Don't care where you got it from. You deal with customer service. Recently, as you know, last week on the show was all about the recharge. During the recharge, happened to be in a bit of a resort area to some extent, or able to, I should say, visit a resort area. I wouldn't say I was necessarily in one. We were staying quite in the middle of nowhere, but in the middle of everywhere, as it goes with living in the middle of nowhere. And so we were able to go out and experience a few different things, one of which was a restaurant nearby at a resort community. And we went there for dinner on my birthday. My wife always likes to take me out for a nice birthday. I always appreciate that. And so out for a nice birthday dinner, and started to think, gosh, why don't we stay at resorts like this? And it only took like 2 minutes before a bunch of people just came flying in and having expectations of people around them. Like, well, we're staying here. We should be this. We should be that. And we didn't have reservations, so you think to yourself, all right, figure out why I don't want to stay here. But we had a really solid server. Very solid. Kid was on top of everything, and it was all fast. But here's the thing. It was all done on those really slick little like hand tablets. They're not even like tablets, just like rolling credit card machines, it looks like. And so it's all very fast. The problem is that much like anyone with technology, it becomes like this. So it's like you're talking and someone's like, and you're not really having that engagement. And so it sort of struck me when the gentleman walked away, and my wife's like, look, if it's just going to be someone on their tablet, why not just put one here on the table? What do I need to talk to someone for? And I thought, interesting, as I reminded her that while on a recent trip to New York City, on my way back in the airport, that's what happened to me. It was basically scan the barcode, drinks, food, order, and it came out as impersonal, as sanitized as you would imagine a machine giving you that would do, right? That's what it did. It was like there was nothing. There was no record. There was no conversation. There was nothing. It was just someone getting their food. So, okay. Do you know what I mean? Good enough for me. Fine. So I rolled with it. I didn't really think about it too much. And then because you're in a resort style community like that, things sort of, they're one of two ways, right? They're either really laid back and everyone's like, whatever, or they know that it's a time to turn and get tables and move. So that's kind of where we were at. It was a dinner. It was a Thursday night. And, want to look for a little rotation on the table. Fine, whatever, no big deal. But then, like, because of the tablet thing, the kid just starts, like, reading the receipt out loud. And again, I don't care. It doesn't matter. But we'd had a few things. We had a reasonable bill that I don't need public, and I didn't really understand why it was public, but then I did, because of the technology that he was just going to basically, instead of having me scroll this thing, he just read it to me, turn it around, hit, slap the credit card, and it was over. So as I told my wife, it cures one of my biggest problems, which is like the post-bill scenario, like the post-bill linger. When someone gives you a bill, then forgets to come and collect, or forgets to come and ask, or forget anything. And you just sort of like, you're in this, like, what do I do now? Are they going to take my credit card? Is this where a walkout, checkout situation? Right. So you're like, what the fuck do I do? And so in this case, what I found was that people were, again, engaging to basically get me moving. So it wasn't about necessarily how I had felt weirded out if someone read out loud. It was just more about him trying to speed through the process. Most people probably take that thing from him, scroll through it, have whatever. He just read off what I had eaten. I had said yes, and then he'd given my total out loud. So whatever, fine. Day's over. We leave. It was fast. The whole thing was fast. And by the way, you go out to dinner. In those situations, I should have remembered, but like, they have the soup salad, they had the dinner entree, right? And so we ordered all of our stuff, and they brought everything out at once. So that kind of sucked because your food was just everywhere. But again, I think it's because of this tablet, because of this quickness mentality, which, don't get me wrong, I live in. I have high expectations of almost anything that I walk into. So this isn't like I don't get it. I totally get it. But it was technology. The way it happened was sort of sanitized. So anyways, food was good, though. This is good news. So get done, fine, whatever. Next day, we roll out. Go out to a little, what was called World Famous Donuts up in Grand Marnier. So I heard it said. I don't know if it's positive or not. I never asked anyone to confirm it, but they were up there. We were up there at this little donut place, and the people, it was one woman, okay? One woman working a walk-in one door, bunch of donuts, walk out that door. I mean, this was it, right? It was a case of donuts, woman working behind, plenty of people coming out of the back, but one woman was POC here, okay? She was cash register. She was everything. She was absolutely everything to everyone, every moment, and it was unfreaking believable to watch. Because again, when you're in resort communities, you hit or you miss. It's rarely like down the middle. That's what I find. I find it to be really good or really bad. That's me. Like I said, I typically venture into resort communities and then back out of. I don't live in them full time to see any sort of ongoing in that way. So cool little experience. Great. Whatever. Went out, had our little donuts, little donut kebab thing. It was very cool, very fun. Anyways, got done with that. Later on the day, we're like, oh, we're leaving tomorrow, but we don't have any food for lunch. What are we going to do? So, you know what? That place for dinner was good. They have a lunch menu. Let's just go back. How many times have you made that mistake while on vacation? I say mistake because it's rarely going to be the same experience that you had, right? And so this one was completely different. It was not busy at all. We were in the bar instead of the dining room. We were sort of afterthoughts. Our table was the size of this book. And so it was wild for all of us to, I didn't turn that over. See what's on the back. It was wild for us to sort of have this experience back to back and be like, holy cow, this is wild. And it took forever. Same place, different results. So what I ask of people to do is consider when in your dealerships, and now I guess, again, with everything that happened in the past week, 10 days with the breaches, people had to get back to old school. Hopefully that meant digging in and realizing that there's probably a situation within your own dealerships where one person does something one way and another does it another. And it was so varyingly different, even all the way to the checkout, as I explained to you. Yes, the dude had the same tablet problem. He's like not even talking. He's not even looking at us. He's just inputting it, which is lame. Fine, whatever. But then like the simplest of the order took forever. We got way less complex food. We were there for longer for lunch, right? So you're like, how does this happen? And then you realize that it's the bartender and he's responsible for a larger area than maybe he should be, right? Like our BDCs in most cases, we expect a lot, but we don't have a ton of coverage. These are the sort of moments that I realize make up businesses. And for good or for bad, you will be judged on your most recent experience. And our most recent experience was we would not return. It was that simple. We would not return. We were like, we're done. Even if we come back up here, we know we're leaving tomorrow. So it wasn't about this trip, but moving forward. No, now we'll be more, I don't know, adventurous. I don't know. It changed the game. It put you in a situation because of customer service consistency. It put me in the mindset of, well, remember the last time you were there, right? And again, I can consider context and circumstance, no problem. Still, the last time I was there, it was X, right? And that's all that I'm left with. That's all that I know. So the parallel to us and to business is think about the consistency of your dealerships. Think about what each person is dealing with and how that outcome will look different to a consumer on all ends. On all ends. I know it happens every single day. And not everyone can be a perfect, uniform business, but I implore you to go look at how uniform or how not uniform it is. That can be just from the way emails go out. That can be just from the way people get introduced to the sales numbers versus the next guy, or introduced to finance, turned over to service. Any of these things are worth exploring the consistency at which your teams operate. And I got to be honest with you, I saw the same 3 people there that I did from the dinner the night before. So that part is consistent. I dealt with someone different. Yes, definitely. But they're in the same business. They work for the same people. So go off, consider that on your own. Let me know what you come up with. Next week on the show, I'm going to talk to you about my first EV experience, but it isn't anything like you're thinking. Tune in next week. Have yourselves a great start to July.